recall the case of the state of Michigan versus Alexander Cronon, case number 23-00315.
Rachel McDuffie for the people.
Yeah, Sean Patrick Smith for the defendant.
Thank you. All right, we had a breakout room in this matter. First of all, regarding Mr. Cronon's behavior prior to Mr. Smith getting on the call today, at which time he had several outbursts. The first one regarding the number of Black people who were in jail, and I actually cannot recall what the second one was. But I have discussed that with your counsel, Mr. Cronon. Do that again.
Your Honor, I have a mouse that I have a trackpad on my MacBook that does not work. It clicks occasionally. I've been trying to have the cursor in the corner of my screen, but when I do that, my screen goes to sleep. So I had no intent of unmuting myself, and I'm trying to keep my mouse away from the mute button.
We'll see you back here on August 21st.
All right.
Thank you.
Predominantly Black people are in jail. What's up with that?
Wait, who is that? All right, thank you.
The conversation I had was with a roommate of mine who was actually Black. I was simply commenting on the fact that there seems to be a disproportionate in the amount of Black men and Black women that get arrested in this country. It had nothing to do with the court case or you or anybody else in this courtroom. I'm not sure what the second occasion was. I know you commented on it, but I wasn't expecting it.
Mr. Cronon, once again, I didn't ask you for any comment, and yet you're commenting.
Okay, but you are also saying that I did something inappropriate, and I'm letting you know that I'm having technical difficulties with my mouse, as I've said a second time now.
Actually, it's the third time. The third time.
Okay, do I not have a right to
Actually,
speak?
you don't. You need to speak when I'm talking to you, sir.
Okay, but you're talking to me right now, right?
I'm talking. All right. Anything else
I'm
you want to say on behalf of your client, Mr. Smith, today?
Judge, I did, obviously, we're obviously going to have to set this for a jury trial, but in the meantime, I did file to have the bond condition for his tether to be removed. No whatsoever. He has been in compliance with the bond ever since it was put on. There was some statement that the alleged complaint is in fear for her life and that she's seeking a PPO. I'd like to remind the court that it's been 4.5 months and still hasn't got a PO, and she could have called the prosecutor's office. She could have called anybody to help her. So I think that's a really weak argument that she's in fear for her life because she's getting a PPO now. That doesn't make any sense. As to the lights going on and off in her basement, I'm not going to comment on that other than say that if you were to read the full jacket of this case, there's a lot of weird things that go on with this complaint. And
So you might want to turn off your screen so that we can hear what you're saying.
done wrong. He's defending himself. When walking to his roommate, he's about ready to get a sanction for that. And I don't think that's appropriate. So while
I'm unable to hear you, Sean. I'm unable to hear anything.
so that's
Mr. Smith, even your client has told you that we cannot make out what you're. He's gone again.
I'm texting him now.
All right.
Would it be appropriate to have a breakout again so I could call my attorney?
I'm not sure what you're asking me, Mr. Cronon.
If it's possible for me to give my attorney a call here and communicate with him that
I'll pass it. I'll pass it so you can call him. I think that's what you're asking me.
I'm sorry, say again?
which I'm here right now.
Oh, he's back.
I'm back.
Okay, go ahead, Mr. Smith.
That's clear.
That's all I had to say, Judge. He's innocent until proven guilty. The bond should be amended, in my opinion.
All right, thank you. Ms. McDuffie?
Thank you, Your Honor. With respect to the pretrial, I did hear counsel indicate that we will obviously need to set this for a jury trial. I would tend to agree. With respect to the bond conditions and the motion that was filed to remove his GPS tether, that was set, given that I believe that the prosecutor's request regarding the information and the allegations in this case, it's domestic violence, obviously some very concerning situations where Mr. Cronin at one point was cohabitating with that victim in her home. At the appearance that Mr. Cronug made in person at the court following his initial refusal to get that tether, he displayed some very concerning behavior, which he has continued to do today. So the people's concern is about his inability to control his impulses, him not really comprehending how he needs to comport himself just generally and with respect to this case and with the court. And the allegations that defense counsel kind of alluded to or mentioned, we spoke in the breakout room about some issues. Our victim advocate has been in touch with the victim, and there's some things that she's reported to us that are concerning for her regarding some remote control of some of the utilities and things in her home that Mr. Cronug would still be able to do remotely as a form of sort of harassment and things like that. So I understand that a GPS tether is not necessarily directly related to those specific concerns, but I think generally she would object to any sort of change that she needs to feel safe and that she is protected from having him come anywhere near her physically, in addition to that. I think that there was another concern raised regarding, she is in the process of getting a PPO, and defense counsel also mentioned that they did not feel that essentially she should have done so by now if she wanted to do so. Her safety is an ongoing concern. This is an older individual who's a victim in this case who needs support from a lot of different places. She has those supports in place now, and she's getting that. Not getting into any of the disparaging comments that I've heard repeatedly throughout the pendency of this case with respect to this victim. I'm honestly concerned about everything I've seen in court today for this case. So I'm going to ask that the court continue bond, including the GPS tether remaining in place now. I understand that it is warm outside, but that's a factor for Mr. Cronug. But I think our victim safety is taking precedence right now, and the continued lack of self-control by Mr. Cronug is not giving us any assurance that he'll be able to follow court orders without that.
Your Honor, I would like to speak, please.
You don't
Just
get to speak,
one
Mr.
follow-up
Cronin.
to the just one follow-up. Judge, to say that he has a lack of control because he had some issues in court with his professing his innocence, I don't think that should be discounted. The best example of his control is just because a person has a tether on the leg doesn't mean they can't go over to someone's house if they truly have no ability to control themselves. He's had a tether on his leg, but it doesn't shock him. His leg doesn't fall off if he gets too close to the house. Nothing happens to him except for the police get called. Once the tether alarm, people get notified. No one's been notified in 4+ months of any violations. That's the epitome of control. So I'm asking that despite his professing his innocence the first hearing, despite the fact that he made a comment on the disparity in Justice Day, I'm still asking for the tether to be removed.
Thank you. I have listened to the request for the tether to be removed. I have heard comments both in breakout room as well as on the record regarding concern.
May I say
You
anything
may
else, Your
not.
Honor? Okay.
Regarding concerns for the victim's safety, based on the victim's safety issues, I'm going to deny the request to have the tether removed.
Okay, can I say something now
Thank you, Your
since this is a court case about me, or do I have
Yep.
no right to speak in my own court case?
If you want to represent yourself, you can do that, sir. Right now you have counsel, and that's who speaks for you.
Okay, well,
Judge, can we get
I feel that
can we get a trial date?
The next final settlement conference will be on August 24th, 2023 at 11 a.m. with the jury selection on September the 1st, 2023 at 9 a.m. Bond will
I
continue.
feel that I really felt that
Thank
that was
Thank
ineffective
you, Your Honor.
counsel. Am I not allowed to speak or say anything at all as long as I have an attorney? Are you saying that if I have any attorney, whether it's Mr. Smith or anybody else, that I'm not allowed to comment on in my own court case?
Mr. Cronin, that is correct. If you have counsel, then your counsel speaks for you.
Okay, great. Thanks for informing me.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Judge.
Your Honor, I apologize. I wasn't able to.